So here we are with another one in the series of therapists I have great gratitude for and appreciation and love. So this time I'd like to talk about the dynamic duo Richard and Wendy. What a combination these two are. So this is an example of one of the group therapeutic experiences I went through, and it took around about a year. And just how I got invited on was an extraordinary itself, and so was the name. So the name of this therapy group is the Mustering of the Warrior Angels. It's like you what? Well, yeah, seriously, mustering, getting together. Warrior, indicating we have the ability to be warriors, fearless, courageous. Angels, the fact that we come from an angelic background, all of us. So this was an ongoing year therapy group for people who'd experienced severe trauma or other dramatically disturbing things in their lives which were not amenable to the more conventional forms of therapy available at that time. So the first thing that shocked and surprised me about this wonderful couple, Richard and Wendy, is that I applied to do this training, but at that particular point I was on incapacity benefit with ME, so I didn't have much money. In fact, I was living off grid in a lifestyle with very little money involved at all. To my amazement, when they heard my situation, because basically I thought that the price that they quoted was for the year, but it wasn't, it was for the weekend, so it was my mistake. But rather than saying, sorry dude, you got the wrong idea, it's that much per weekend, they said they'd had a discussion between the two of them about it, and they felt very strongly that they should invite me to pay, well, the exact term is name me a price. So they let me name my price, so I paid what I was expecting, which was the amount for the weekend for the entire thing. Extraordinary people to do this for me, and it was an incredible ride. So this was fairly early on in my journey, and I didn't really make use of this opportunity to go deeply into the child sex and abuse stuff because I simply wasn't ready. But I did other pieces of work which were very important indeed. And the thing I want to focus on, actually I did with that group, is I worked to literally recapitulate my birth experience, and it can be known as rebirthing. So that's how I went through a phenomenally powerful rebirthing experience. And this is 13 people, so 13 of us working together, 2 therapists, 11 clients, but the distinction between client and therapist was very deliberately blurred in this, because actually we were all on the journey together. That's how honest these guys were. And so there's a particular point it came to everyone's awareness that I needed to actually recapitulate my birth experience, and actually I'd actually been dragged up by forceps. So 2 weeks after my due date, impatience was the medical game at that particular point, so I drag him out ready or not. So they did. And so what happened is that they gave me the opportunity to do this, and what we used to have a whole process for this. We used to talk about simmering. When a person is simmering, it means that whatever is buried under the surface is actually reaching the surface and ready to be explored and expressed and healed. So that was clearly going on for me. I was about to be ready to heal my birthing experience. So because everyone was so incredibly cooperative and amazing, what happened is I was asked to sit in the room on the floor in the centre of the room, and then a few people piled their bodies on top of me to make a womb, and a few more people arranged their bodies to create like a birth canal, and then there were the midwives, and then I then literally recapitulated my birth experience. And by this what I mean to say is, and I was talked through it. So one of the people leading our weekend described the situation. Here you are, you're in the womb, and it's nice and warm and it's comfortable and wonderful and all that, and when you're ready it'll be time to come out quite soon. And this is the whole point. They didn't rush me. They did the opposite of what happened in my physical existence in this lifetime. They gave me the space and the time. And so it took time, and only when they were completely sure that I was ready did the pile of bodies arrange themselves, and I started to squeeze myself through the birth canal created by these other bodies arranged in this particular way. And finally, and I took my time on this one, that was the whole point, I finally emerged into the outside world, and I was taken by these two wonderful people in the group, and they became my midwives. And one of them was my midwife, and the other was my mother, to be precise, because one of them put me on the breast, and the other one did all the things that the midwife needs to do to make me safe and protected and warm and secure and all the rest of it. And through that process I came to these words, and these words are absolutely my watchword, and it's interesting how I will find this relevant in my life today. There are times I forget about it, and there's times I remember it. So the words are, in my own time. It's very important for me in this lifetime to actually have the opportunity to do things in my own time, because I was rushed at such a crucially significant part of the journey, actually being born. So the other thing I wanted to say to you, which is also particularly wonderful about this group, is that really early on, actually the first weekend, what happened is I took notes. I had no idea why I was doing this at the time, but I continued to take notes throughout the entire year, and our weekends were 3 or 4 days long, so that was a hell of a lot of writing. And what I would do at the end of each long weekend, I would take all those notes I'd written, and it's literally testimony from the people that are going through the experience, whatever they've been through. I'd write it all down, and I used to rewrite it, photocopy it and post it, this is pre-internet days, to all the members of the group. And they were pretty shocked the first time this happened at the end of the first weekend, and everyone liked it so much I did it after every single weekend. I didn't understand why I was doing it at the time, but now I understand more about myself. Now I know I'm INFJ personality type from the Myers-Briggs. This was simply my way to make sure that the material that was being addressed didn't get stuck in me. It actually went through me, out of me, and onto the paper, so I was actually protecting myself by doing this. But it did mean that all the people on that wonderful training had a whole extra free bonus, which is they got a free report after each of the weekends. So that was something that really stuck in my mind. And then another thing which really helped me to clarify I wasn't ready to work on my childhood traumas at that point in my journey was there was a particular afternoon when we were invited to go into chaos, and everyone was completely free in this room to make any noises, do any weird stuff they want to do, run around screaming, shouting, bang themselves, whatever they wanted to do, they could just do it, because we were given the freedom to do this. This is obviously not early on, this is when we actually got to know each other pretty well, so this is happening. So the whole room suddenly erupts into chaos, and how I responded was really indicative of where I was in my journey at that time. I found some sheets of A4 paper. I stood up and I laid these sheets of A4 paper around me in a ring, in a circle. So basically there's me standing in the circle, and eventually I think I sat down, and I'm surrounded by sheets of A4 paper. That was my way of saying, okay dudes, whatever you guys are up to, whatever crazy shit you're on, you do not pass these pieces of paper. And there was never any discussion, because we were such a wonderful group. Everyone could sense what was going on. I couldn't do any more than just witness what was going on. I couldn't participate. At that point, no way in hell. So that's what I did. So that was particularly wonderful of that experience. And then the other thing is just how, because a lot of you maybe never have done this, maybe never get the opportunity, but because it was an ongoing therapy group where we were working together to support each other. I remember one particular person, I won't say her name, and she was simmering, she was ready to start to release her stuff from the past, and it was big. And she was in university, she literally did time travelling. She was in the university, she was with her boyfriend at the time, and she went back into her room, and there were 3 men there, and basically her boyfriend was, that's right, let me be more precise about this. She got into the room, the boyfriend was locked out of the room, so he could see what was going on, because there was a glass panel in the door, and he couldn't get in, and the 3 people that were in there with her chose to take turns to rape her. So that was just to give you an understanding that the mustering of the warrior angels, we were dealing with some serious stuff, right? No question about it. And something I'll never forget is the way that she revealed that in Ginny to us all, and how we then took what was revealed and worked with it therapeutically. And the last one I want to mention, and it's really hard not to mention this person's name, so I just got such love and respect for her, but I won't, because that's the deal here. She had the experience of being sexually abused as a child, and first of all it was by a family member, and then that stopped, and very shortly after that stopped, there was an ice cream man that used to come to the local area and play the ice cream man tune, and children used to queue up to get the ice cream. Well, I don't know how he managed to do this, but somehow, and you'll find these abusers always have their ways and means, somehow he managed to get her on her own into the ice cream van. And so the joke that she made about it, there can be a sense of humour as long as it's from the person concerned and not other people. Let's just say that one more time. Not other people. Her joke was it wasn't the ice cream man, it was the I-scream man, and that's how it was for her. And she did actually say quite honestly and openly that there was a particular point when he was raping her and she was making noises, and he actually, can you believe this, had the audacity to tell her to stop making noises while he was doing what he was doing. Incredible. But the bit I'm literally guided to share this experience with you, because what happened there is one of the people leading us had a strong sense of what we needed to do, and he went off and found one. He found a poker. Now a poker's a blunt heavy metal object which you could kill someone with, so it's a lethal, possibly offensive weapon, a poker, and it's used for poking the fire if you've got a fire, coal fire, wood fire, whatever. So he found this poker and he put it into her hands and says, right, I'm giving you the poker, you understand what this is about? And so she then had the opportunity to say to that ice cream man what she would have said all those decades ago had she been not a child, but someone could have defended herself. And we could all tell that was a major pivotal moment in her healing process. And you could tell the way she was after that. She was really confrontational, took no prisoners, and was really heavily humorous with us all. Fantastic what I did for her. And she actually got a nickname. She was called Valiant after that, because indeed that's what she was and still is. So there you go. So that's an example of interesting group therapy that I've experienced. And just to clarify, what my major breakthrough on that one was actually being able to have my birth completely reframed by a nurturing experience where I actually was given the time I never received, as being dragged up by forceps. Thank you very much.